Hi, I'm Paul.
And I'm Brent.
And this is our production of Romeo and Juliet.
Enjoy.
Act 1. Verona, Italy. Two families, the Montagues and the Capulets, have hated each other since forever. When another fight breaks out between them in the streets, Prince Aeschylus tells them to stop fighting
On pain of death.
Meanwhile, Romeo, a Montague, is all depressed because he's in love with a girl named Rosalind who wants nothing to do with him. Romeo's friend Benvolio convinces Romeo to go to a ball thrown by the Capulets so that Romeo will forget about Rosalind and hit on other girls. On the way to the ball, Romeo's crazy friend Mercutio makes a crazy speech about Queen Mab because he's crazy.
Oh, I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She
Romeo,
comes
Benvolio, and Mercutio sneak into the ball where Romeo sees Juliet, forgets about Rosalind, and falls madly in love.
Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright.
Romeo and Juliet kiss.
You kiss by the book.
Romeo finds out that Juliet's a Capulet, and Juliet finds out that Romeo is a Montague. Tybalt, Juliet's cousin, sees Romeo at the ball and wants to kill him. Juliet's father tells him he's not allowed to kill him. Tybalt agrees, but vows to kill him some other time. Act 2. After the ball is over, Romeo ditches his friends and sneaks off into the bushes.
But soft. What light through yonder window breaks?
He sees Juliet at her bedroom window. Romeo and Juliet proclaim their love for each other and decide to get married. Friar Lawrence, a friend of Romeo's, marries them in secret, hoping it will bring the two families together. Act 3. Romeo runs into Mercutio and Benvolio arguing with Tybalt in the street. Tybalt tries to pick a fight with Romeo.
Romeo, the hate I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain!
But Romeo refuses. Mercutio fights Tybalt because Romeo won't.
Tybalt, you rat catcher!
Romeo tries to break up the fight, and Tybalt stabs Mercutio under Romeo's arm. Mercutio dies.
A plague on both your houses!
Romeo is enraged by the death of his friend and stabs Tybalt. Romeo runs away. The prince shows up, sees that Tybalt is dead, and orders Romeo
banished. Banished? Banished? Banished.
Meanwhile, Juliet waits for Romeo to show up at her place on their wedding night.
Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds!
The nurse tells Juliet that Tybalt is dead and that Romeo is
banished. Banished? Banished.
Juliet sends the nurse to Romeo with a ring and a message to meet her later that night. Romeo sneaks into Juliet's bedroom. The next morning, Romeo flees to Mantua. Juliet's parents try to convince her to marry Paris, not knowing that she's secretly married to Romeo. Act 4. Friar Lawrence comes up with a plan. Juliet agrees to marry Paris and then fakes her own death by taking a potion given to her by the friar. Her parents think she's dead and put her in the Capulet's tomb. The plan is, Romeo will come get her, she'll wake up, and they'll both run off to Mantua and live happily ever after. Act 5. In Mantua, Romeo never hears about the plan, so when he finds out that Juliet has died, he thinks she's really dead. Romeo gets some poison from an apothecary and goes to the Capulet's tomb where he plans to die in Juliet's arms. At the Capulet's tomb, he runs into Paris, who tries to kill Romeo, but instead, Romeo kills Paris. Romeo drinks poison and dies.
Oh, true apothecary, thy drugs are quick.
Juliet wakes up, sees that Romeo is dead, and stabs herself with Romeo's dagger.
Oh, happy dagger, this is thy sheath.
Friar Lawrence shows up, realizes they're both dead, and explains everything to the Montagues and Capulets. The Montagues and Capulets vow never to fight again.
For never was there a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.
The end.